Okay, this is a scene from The Incredibles, one of my most favorite movies ever. Phenomenal film. And it's a very short sequence, only about 9 seconds long. And we're going to talk about this from the perspective of great visual storytelling without any dialogue, understanding why this scene exists in the movie. This is a scene, literally like a transition scene from basically Mr. Incredible going home after a long day's work. And we have to remember that every sequence in the movie does not exist in a vacuum, which means they're all connected and they all have significant meaning, and that's the reason why they're in the movie. Animated movies are very expensive to make, so every scene is in the movie for a reason. So in this case, this scene is what you might call a temperature check and a reminder of where Mr. Incredible is emotionally at this point. We've not seen him for 3 sequences. The last time we saw him was in the office. He helped the old lady get around the insurance thing so she can get the benefits. Then he gets chewed out by his boss. So he's pretty pissed off and feeling like crap because he can't be who he wants to be, a person that helps people. That's who he is. He's Mr. Incredible, or he was formerly Mr. Incredible. Now he's Bob Parr. And his whole existence was about saving people's lives and helping people. And now he can't do that. So that's the last time we saw him. This is, of course, Act 1. And after that, we go meet his son and discover that he's a bit of a troublemaker. Then we have another moment with mom chewing out his son and telling him where they need to be emotionally and what they should be doing. And then we meet Violet. So after we meet Violet and see her secret crush and we learn about her powers, we go back and check in on Mr. Incredible. And that's where we are right now. We're in this point here where we haven't seen him, and it's a reminder to the audience of where he is emotionally. So the scene is doing a lot of things, but mostly he's prepping us to remember where he was emotionally so that when we get into later parts in the movie, we understand where he's coming from and where he's going. So let's look at this scene first. All right, amazing, very short, and there's a lot to learn in the sequence. We're going to back up a little bit more. And the first thing we want to look at from an art direction standpoint is, let's turn the sound down here so we can look at it. So we're going to first see how things are in general before we get to him, and it's setting up how the normal world is so that when we get to him, we understand that he's very different. Let's look at the shape language first of all, and a lot to be learned just by looking at this stuff. And I think the one big thing that I learned by taking more time out watching these movies is really paying attention to everything that I can and asking a lot of questions. So what's the purpose of the scene? It's a transition and a reminder of where he is emotionally. Let's look at the shape language. Everything has, in general, round shapes, round roof. Look at these tops here, all round. The other thing we want to look at is little people in big cars. There's a lot of room to the right of these people. Look at this guy. He's tiny. He's got a giant car. This guy, giant car. Everybody's got room for passengers in these cars. And this is setting up what the expectations are of a regular person. And then we pan down and we see giant man in tiny car. He's crammed in here just like he was in the office scene. He was a guy in a cubicle world. So it was like a guy stuck in an infinite mass of squares, and sort of like the round peg in a square hole. He doesn't fit. And this is a great example of that, and just pays off that visual language really nicely. Let's go back again, look at that. So we pan down, we see what's normal. We see even attitude-wise, people are tired and bored, but emotionally, he is a man lost deep in thought. Look where he is. He's kind of looking down. His eye line's down. His thumb is tapping the steering wheel. And so we know he's not present. He's not thinking about the traffic. He's thinking about how miserable his life is. Life sucks. Also, look how big he is. There's absolutely no room on the right here for anybody. Could he put his kids in here? No. Look back here. Tons of room in these cars. The other thing is, back to the shape language, round roof, and look at this round roof right over here. Now we have like super communist era square roof. Like this looks like a bread box. The man is literally locked back in another cubicle, just like the cubicle city that he came from. He's crammed in another cubicle. He's boxed in, and it's basically showing a guy who is a prisoner to this world that he doesn't want to be in. He wants to be his former self, who he used to be, the guy who saved everybody. And now he can't be that person because the world's telling him you can't be this anymore because of lawsuits. So this is setting up where he is emotionally so that when we go into the driveway scene and the house scene afterwards, we really understand where he is and who he wants to be, so that when we get to the inciting incident later on with the iPad, we understand everything very fully. And so what can you do? The takeaway here is when you watch movies, sit down with a pad of paper or your laptop, take time and pause, and every sequence that you see, ask questions. What's the purpose of the sequence? Why is it in the movie? What can I observe just from an art direction standpoint when I'm looking at things that might give me clues to the whys? Meaning that right now they're sitting in traffic jail, life is really crappy. And as you're looking at the shape language and you're looking at the contrast between the shots, that you will ask yourself questions that you have to answer. The other thing I want to say in here is that this is very similar to that scene in Ratatouille, also by Brad Bird, another fantastic movie, where just before they go into the kitchen and they discover that, or the waiter is actually telling them that they want to try something off menu, the scene opens up with the camera high and pans down, following the waiter that takes us to our diners who begin to ask the question. Camera move is same, just like in this, the purpose of it is different. So go back and watch that movie and ask why that exists.